we have to discuss new technologies and jobs. So whenever there are new technologies around, some old technologies might die. But the question is, how can we keep work in the countries that build up new technologies? And this is something that is especially interesting for trade unions, so for the associations that represent the workers. And we also always said that hydrogen needs to be accepted by the societies. It's a societal thing. This is why it's with great pleasure that we have here with us a representative of the European Association of Workers of Trade Unions, Mrs. BARBRO AUESTAD. She's here and will talk about exactly that point. Welcome.
Dear conference. Oh, I'll just go with it. Thank you. Dear conference, I find it fascinating that by weight the universe consists of 73% hydrogen, but this conference is 100%, so I think we're really in line with the universe. Yeah, my name is Barbro AUESTAD. I am from the Union Styrke. I'm a national secretary in the executive committee of the Union Styrke. We are one of Norway's largest trade unions with 80,000 members. We organize in oil, gas, energy-intensive industries and in management. Our union, again, is member of industriAll Europe, a federation representing metal, energy and mining sectors, uniting 7 million workers across 200 unions in 39 European countries. The federation plays a strong role in social dialogue for just transition. Today I'm here representing industriAll Europe, and it's a great pleasure to share with you the trade union's perspective on hydrogen transition and production and our role as a social partner in the transition. So what is just transition? This is a term coined by the unions, and now it's a good time to take a step back and see the origin of it, because it's everywhere these days. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, it went back. It's, yeah, we'll leave it there. Just transition. It's social dialogue. It's nothing about us without us. Safe, good jobs. Transition within employment, preferably within the same company, or to have a new job before the old one is gone. To have a social safety net, retraining and competence is a key part of just transition. And the very linchpin of the creation is to involve unions and worker reps early on. And early means early, before the decision is made. Both to ensure real dialogue and influence, but also to assure a good result with a foundation that is solid. So a Norwegian example. Coming from Norway, I'd like to highlight hydrogen role in I'm getting some help. I'm not sure if it's helpful, but Thank you. Now the help is helping. Yeah, Norsk Hydro, now Yara. The history goes back 100 years into the early 20th century. They were pioneers producing hydrogen with a vital societal mission to produce fertilizer to feed the world. One of the main enabling factors was Norway's access to cheap and abundant hydropower. This has long been a foundation for industrial development in Norway. Industrial projects, often built in small communities, has been a crucial pillar for building society in our country. In addition, Norway has hosted several industrial pilots that have been important for hydrogen's development further. For instance, Yara, with partners, have produced large amounts of green hydrogen on Herøya, while Equinor produces large amounts of blue hydrogen with CCS. And together, the Norwegian industry and the trade union movement have more than 100 years of experience with hydrogen. So, cooperation is a key factor with the tools of trust and dialogue. Our tripartite cooperation between trade unions, employers, and the government has been fundamental for both Norwegian workplaces and the society. These stakeholders have been recognized as for the value they have for working together towards common goals to deliver on shared societal missions. This is the core of what we call the Norwegian model, where trade unions work for growth in production, companies take social responsibility, and the state enables industrial development. As I said, industriAll Europe represents 39 countries, 200 unions, cross-sector, cross-companies. We have a bird's eye view. We don't have the interest in one single country, one single company. We see it as a whole. And when it boils down to it, it's those 7 million people, ordinary people going to work, having families, having their issues they're dealing with, needing to pay the bills, thinking about their cat and their job. It's these people with ordinary worries that the unions are representing. And that's our line of work, to make sure that life is going smoother for people. And we want the nation and the companies to succeed as well. So how to include unions in the hydrogen transition? Social dialogue and a strong cooperation between the social partners are the very reasons why our Norwegian industry has managed to both grow and to adapt over time. We must preserve the competence that we already have and ensure that the hydrogen jobs of the future comes with good conditions and a broad social acceptance. Competence is not an abstract concept. It consists of the people with valuable experience that must be safeguarded. Lifelong learning and retraining will be crucial to update the skills of our members already possess, since these skills will also be in demand in the future, so we need no gap. It's vital that both workers and employee representatives are included in the early stages of the transition. We need to keep those working hands and working minds. Green industry cannot be built on the expense of social rights. Safe, decent jobs are a prerequisite for success. To ensure that society as a whole benefits from industrial development, no region must be left behind. It's not by chance that many of Norway's great industry stories has been taking place outside of the largest cities. These local success stories are closely tied with our national experience of building community through industry. We must also not forget that the climate dimension of hydrogen is crucial. A low emission society benefits everyone, and hydrogen plays an essential role in achieving our climate goals. The clean industrial deal from you will be particularly important in the years coming, as it connects competitiveness with emission reduction. To deliver on green transition in a socially fair way, it's absolutely essential that trade unions are part of the process. Hydrogen has a key role as a bridge builder in the green transition, creating both sustainable industry and good jobs. So I would like to leave you with these 3 key messages. There is no green transition without just transition. Hydrogen creates opportunities, but it also must create safe and decent jobs. A just transition is key to securing a broad support for the green transition. Thank you for having me.
Tusen Dank. Thanks very much indeed. I think it's interesting to understand how this all is interrelated. We had Yara here. We had Equinor on Monday here, so we have Norwegian players, and it's not only them. We had Nel today here. So it's a very strong hydrogen country, and we can learn from the Norwegian model. So thank you very much to present that here. Thanks very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always difficult to invite a top-level speaker for the closing remark, because he always risks to have less people. Yes, it's not 1,200 anymore, because at peak times it was 1,200. But we have here the most important member of the European Parliament. Why? Okay, you have the President of the Parliament, it's always from the protocol the most important, but the most powerful is the chair of the Trade Committee. Why is it so? Because trade in Europe is a competence of the EU. It's not with member states anymore. So trade is done by the Commission, and it's checked by this Trade Committee, and it's chaired by a person, and Bernd Lange. Bernd Lange is here. He is the only one who can stop the deal that Mrs. von der Leyen did in Scotland with Donald Trump. It's him. And trade is a battlefield. We have seen that the American president is, for instance, in the IMO, that is very important for us, the International Maritime Organization, threatening countries that go for hydrogen-based solutions. He said it clearly. If you haven't seen that, he is calling basically heads of state, heads of government, and says, if you in the IMO follow these ammonia or methanol things based on hydrogen, I will give you tariffs. You get 50%. So the route that we were believing in, because for us it's important, we have aviation fuel EU, so we have this aviation fuels that are so important for us, and the maritime fuels. And many of our members believe in that. And now President comes and calls up one by one. Can I give you the Greek example? Because Greece has more than 50% of ships in Europe under Greek flag. So in the IMO, Greece is the superpower. Donald Trump asked, in a very, very long fight between Mediterranean countries, south of Greece, between Libya and Greece, there is a big, big gas and oil field. And it was a big dispute between Turkey and Greece. And Trump decided 2 weeks ago, it's Chevron going there, we do it with the Greeks. But then he calls Mitsotakis and says, in the IMO, you don't do this woke thing. You see, it's a problem. This new situation is a problem. But we have Superman here. Bernd Lange from the European Parliament. No pressure, eh? Dear Bernd, no pressure, but it's all in your hand now to help the hydrogen sector. Welcome. Welcome. Bernd Lange, Social Democrat, European Parliament, Intercommittee.
Yeah, thanks a lot, JORGO, for the nice introduction. So I forgot my Superman dress. But honestly, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's not me alone. Of course, the European Parliament has some power to change decision inside the European Union, but also in relation to third countries, and that's, of course, a big responsibility, specifically in the field of hydrogen, no doubt about, for several reasons. And my colleague from the trade union mentioned as well that green hydrogen is one important part in the implementation of the Paris Climate Agreement. That's for sure, and this is a goal we are accepting in more than 170 countries worldwide. But I'm also convinced that hydrogen is also an instrument to really encourage people in the developing world to industrialize their economy. So we have really seen that there is a lot of movement to really support green hydrogen production in the light of the development in their country and, of course, regarding the export. And there, of course, trade is coming in. And yes, I'm deeply impressed about the conference and the different elements of hydrogen production in Europe. But it's totally clear, specifically at the beginning, we need green hydrogen imported, I guess, more or less half of the demand. And therefore, a proper and a fair partnership with third countries is so crucial. And ladies and gentlemen, a third element, of course, green hydrogen is a little bit expensive at the moment in Europe. I'm not totally aware about the latest figure, but I guess €8 a kilogram might be the price. And it's indeed the possibility in third countries with other conditions regarding the environment, but also regarding the structure, that this might be really much more competitive in production than in Europe. So 3 elements where trade in green hydrogen is getting really big importance in the basket of trade policy in general. And this is not abstract. That we have also a reality on that. This morning I was in Cologne on a big conference with Latin American representatives. And I spoke quite intensively with the foreign minister of Peru. And he mentioned to me exactly the 3 elements I talked just about. And they are building a new plant for green hydrogen production with investment around about $11 billion with solar panel. So there are needs, of course, also for production and construction and so on. And also in a really horizontal way, looking also what's about the water, where the water is coming from, not really take it away from the agricultural sector and so on. An integrated project with a clear perspective to bring green hydrogen in a competitive way to the European Union, and because of this construction in Peru also really stimulate sustainable growth in Peru. And this is also possible because we have a trade agreement with Peru and Colombia, where we really looked specifically in using these opportunities. And the second example, perhaps my favorite one, with Chile, where we really looked how to improve the trade in sustainable areas and specifically regarding green hydrogen. At the moment, we have 32 projects in Chile based on our trade agreement. Half of them are directed to the production of green hydrogen for domestic consumption. They have a big steel company in Chile as well, They want to have a direct reduction line for the production of steel and some other uses for green hydrogen as well. So half of the 32 products. And the other half is for the export, mainly to the European Union, of course. This is supported by the European Union in a volume from 216 million euro. So I guess this is bringing really benefit for the energy structure of Chile, but also it is generating employment in Chile under conditions which are agreed in the trade agreement. They are environmentally okay, and of course regarding the labor conditions as well. It's a little bit an answer to the request we heard just before. So Chile is going in exactly the direction. I think trade policy can really support the development of green hydrogen in a proper way and giving an answer to the 3 criteria. At the moment, we have round about 10 MOUs regarding the production of green hydrogen, some in the context of trade agreements, some in a specific way. A big difference to Peru and Chile, of course, is that at the moment there's no investment in. And this is, of course, also a duty for the trade policy of the European Union, that we really stimulate investment in the production for the benefit of the added value in the countries. So we need to reflect really to investment support, insurance for political and economic damage, so that we have in German this system of Hermesbürgschaften, so that we really stimulate investment in this production of green hydrogen in the interest of both sides. So trade agreements, creating projects, financing projects, and stimulating investment in this project is so crucial for the near future. And of course, it is also an obligation for us now to be really in the leadership of technology development, because the competition is there. And we had the example in some renewable technology in the past, where the European Union lost the technology and others really took over the leadership. And therefore, it's so important to look how we can support the technology development in our interest, but also in the interest of trade with other countries. And therefore, I guess this project, and yesterday the 3 valleys were presented, is so important to have this integrated work in this net zero valley project, but also to bring new technologies quicker to the market. At the moment, we have the situation that 1/3 of venture capital is given to companies in Silicon Valley, 1/3 of global venture capital. And this has to be changed as well, so that we can really bring start-up, specifically in the production of green hydrogen, really quick to the market. And we have also the necessity to do it much quicker than perhaps in the past. So the question of speed up is one element, and I spoke last week with Stefan Séjourné, the Commissioner for Industrial Policy and for Trade Policy, to bring on our table an acceleration legislation, so that we can really speed up the technology development and the market for such technologies. And this needs also a reflection about our, let's say, regulatory framework for green hydrogen. And I promised yesterday evening, and I will do it again, that we need really to change the Delegated Act regarding the definition of green hydrogen and the possibility to produce green hydrogen specifically in the implementation phase for, let's say, 10 years, so that we can really be sure that there is an investment in the structure and is not harmed by a delegated act, by a regulation, which is really composite by really like-minded people, but perhaps not really reflecting the reality of the situation on the ground. So I guess we have externally in our trade policy a lot of chances for the production and the trade with green hydrogen, and we need also to do our domestic homework, and I saw a lot of discussions here in the 2 days, specifically also for the domestic situation and to support it. And I really appreciate the discussion and this forum, because in the, let's say, last 3 years, after a hype on green hydrogen, after the Russian aggression and the energy shock because of the gas and oil situation, nowadays we have really to motivate people to stick to the path of green hydrogen, because at the moment we have the situation that the economic development is not always on top, and we have some recession in some member states, so that some other priorities appeared. But at the end of the day, I'm totally convinced, and specifically regarding the experience also in the developing world, we have only a chance for economic development, for sustainable development, if we are sticking to our path for green hydrogen, and this should be done regardless what other countries are doing, and specifically, JORGO mentioned the United States. We will resist this clear pressure towards us and towards others to really go away from renewable resources. This is not the proper way. We will support everybody who is sticking to this path for sustainable development in our world. We need it economically, but also regarding our living conditions. Thanks a lot for the attention, and all the best for you.
To bind it up. Valerie was my boss as a president of Hydrogen Europe many, many years. I think you were the record, you hold the record in being chair of Hydrogen Europe. And it was under your leadership that we basically took the decision to organize these kind of conferences. Before we were...
and when there was COVID, so we had to wait a little bit.
Then there was COVID, and we had to wait, we had to postpone, and then some 4 years before we started it, and I'll get this, and then we did it, and last year, for the first time, we had the decision to take an international partner on board. This year, you see there the slide, it was Oman. This picture was made this morning because the big Omani delegation, quite big Omani delegation, headed by the minister, showed us clearly that hydrogen is something happening in the world. And also, honestly, I was very impressed by the minister yesterday with his clear words and with this persistence to believe in something and to give a long-term perspective. That's what we need, and that's what we did. So with your help, we created 1,200 guests in this. Well, bravo to all of you to come and to stay. We also got feedback for this kind of location. I already said this earlier today, that people like this format, sometimes even more than an exhibition. We need to calibrate this. We need to understand what is best for the sector, because I got a lot of very, very interesting messages. I hope you did as well.
Yeah. But that's not over.
No. That's why she's here. It continues.
We're in the middle of a week. And so for the one who are still in Brussels, tomorrow and on Friday, there's the other part of the European Hydrogen Week, because you know European Hydrogen Week and Hydrogen Europe Fund name, so thank you very much for that. It's the flagship even of a joint undertaking of our public-private partnership, of which European Commission and private sector through Hydrogen Europe and Hydrogen Europe Research are stakeholders and have skin in the game. And they're putting insight, bringing value, and redistributing the value to the whole community of industry and research players. So that's why we have a high-level policy conference, we have a business forum, so these two occurred today and yesterday, but you have an innovation forum, which will take place tomorrow and Friday morning in a different location. So if you intend to come, please don't come here. It's not at the square. It's at Ton Hotel Arlois, so not very far away. It's still downtown Brussels. And the topic of the year, it's not hype anymore. Thank you, BERND, for highlighting that. It's really how do we make the pipe? How do we move forward with the technology? So, and how research and innovation can bring competitiveness to European players. So that will be the theme of the day. We'll speak a lot of startup. Friday will be dedicated to startups, and we'll have multiple industry representative, research representative, commission representative as well, trying to tackle all the different challenges and technologies that we need to address in order to be successful. So I hope you will be many of you tomorrow and the day after. And
basically, it's the same thing. Yeah? Here, high level, you saw this morning the Belgian minister, high level political conference, BERND, even highest level you can get, but also dedicated discussions on big things like hydrogen bank, like lead markets. However, we also need to discuss, and here you see the very concrete creation of ESAF. We discussed that today, and how this can create new jobs, new innovation. It would not have been possible without you, without the joint undertaking that started with concrete projects. But we also need to understand if this technology goes to China, this is not yet in China that innovative, or to the US, the US is very interested in that, then we lost another opportunity. And this is what the joint undertaking can do, can protect us to a certain extent, to lose startups. We are losing at the moment startups because we are not taking care of them. Yeah? We have lots of patents. This is a super innovative thing here. But if the financial environment, Bernd described that so much money, it's 2/3 that goes to, 1/3 goes to Silicon Valley. 1/3 goes to Silicon Valley. And it's a small place. So we need maybe to rectify it. At least we need to keep our guys here, and she's doing that.
And that's her role. I mean, that's a joint action together. We're not covering the whole action. There are many funding bodies within the European Commission when it comes to scaling up, but the mission of the Clean Hydrogen Partnership is very simple. Our role is to make sure that we support and we strengthen the European value chain when it comes to hydrogen in Europe. And in fact, you need to see us as mitigating the risk. We're doing prototype, disruptive innovation, but then we're going into the first of a kind, of a first small production in order for others to take off, scale it up with less risk because we did the job before.
Also because you have these hydrogen valleys. This is realized in regions. Today we signed an MOU with our region of Aragon. But here is also a snapshot from activities that you do, especially in innovation.
Yeah, you have our chair, because the chair of the joint undertaking is industry being led.
Danica,
I recognize France as well. I recognize other key actors. And Hydrogen Valley is key, because Hydrogen Valley, we're doing the first jobs, funding valleys, and then it will be much easier to connect the dot. We have today funded 21 valleys in 18 different countries. With our call this year, there will be 5 additional valleys. Mission Innovation a moment ago was talking about the Clean Hydrogen Mission. in which we intend to reach 50 hydrogen valley being implemented by 2030. Hydrogen valley are small ecosystem where you're not in the hype phase anymore, you're in the offtake phase, pipe phase, when you have true capacity production being built, offtake being there as well, and it covers all the different aspects of the value chain. Each one of the valleys is different. Some are more mobility oriented, some are more industry oriented, but we have been very successful so far. And the amount of beneficiaries and of companies being involved in the 21 hydrogen valleys so far nearly reaches 500 different companies.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to come to an end. You see here not only a nice picture of the minister, you also see there Bertrand Piccard. You remember? The guy who founded Solar Impulse, who went round the globe with a solar plane and now will do the same with hydrogen. He came yesterday evening to me. It was very moving for me because I have a big respect for what he does. He came to me. He said, what you did here is creating a sector, and it reminds me what happened 20 years ago with the solar sector. He said they had a bumpy field, they did not know where they end up, and now they are where they are. It's the same spirit, it's the same community, but you need people, you need organizations that drive that process. That's our job, that's what we do, and Bernd, you also alluded to solar. This is, it moved me very much because to hear that from Bertrand was really nice. That's what we do.
You know how we conclude, and we say we can have the same conclusion this year. We're a family. We're a hydrogen family. So let's stick together and let's make our family even bigger.
And we have our heroes. Many thanks. I would like to have your applause for this team. This is the team of my so to say, as a team, my Hydrogen Europe team. This is Hydrogen Europe Secretariat, and these guys, you see, it's not gender balance. A lot of ladies there, a lot of ladies. They made this happen. I would like to say, to single out one person, Tina Marold, who. She had very, very hard weeks, months, because this takes a lot of time to organize this. And Tina, you made it. Congratulations. We will continue the next 2 days, so don't worry, but that's your team. And my team, I'm very proud of you. We will have drinks tonight. And thanks to all of you to have come to Brussels. You got strong messages. Now it's time to implement them. Go back, go home, implement them. Bernd, we have you on our side, and we will fight. Thank you very much. Thank you.